Political violence is tearing the ANC apart, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal province. The author of a book on this topic is Greg Ardé, and his book is called War Party. And Greg joins us today from Durban. Greg, welcome to the CRA channel. Could you give our viewers a sense of the extent of political violence in KZN and also what is driving it?
I think it's driven at the base level by greed, but it's a multi-layered thing. And the more you delve into it, the more complicated you see the networks of patronage are, and how embedded and entrenched certain power cliques are, and how much is at stake in maintaining the status quo. So fundamentally, it is about access to power and resources, but it becomes complicated with it's nuanced in every single municipality. But at its heart, it's fueled by greed.
So, Greg, in the book, you go into some detail about the effect of this violence and instability on local government and service delivery. You profile a couple of municipalities, Richmond, Newcastle. What has been the effect of this violent contestation for power on the actual governance of KwaZulu-Natal?
Yeah, but it thoroughly cripples local government. And really, you have to visit these towns to experience it. Your service deliveries at an all-time low. And the good guys, I think, are increasingly cowed. And understandably, they're in a minority, or they feel like they're in a minority, and they're just completely intimidated by the heavies in the town, because what this politics of might is right is it's incubating is the culture of the heavy, and they're brutal and they're shameless and apparently quite fearless. So you'd think twice about raising a red flag about a dodgy contract or such like if you had to encounter the local heavy in the streets and his thugs. It works. That kind of intimidation works, and the net effect is that it has a huge, because there's a variety of boondoggles. The money that ought to go on service delivery is just spritted away on silly, meaningless projects and crazy contracts that are never fulfilled.
So, Greg, you also go into some detail about the role of other actors, such as the taxi bosses, private security firms, ordinary criminals and hitmen. To what extent are these actors also exacerbating the problem that we spoke of earlier?
Absolutely. I never set out to write as much as I did on the taxi industry, David, but it was fascinating because every time I probed a murder, or 8 times out of 10, I was pointed in the direction of the taxi industry. And it really is the perfect cover for lots of cash and the opportunity to move guns and villains easily. I interviewed Becky Gele in the book, and he was quite animated. He said, "This is like church money." He's talking about the untaxed taxi income. He said it's obviously untraceable, but it's hugely powerful, and it hasn't. It's used to great advantage, so that took me into the taxi industry and consequently into the private security industry that services the taxi industry, and it's the authorities claim that it's regulated, but it's not, and it provides great cover for serious villains. There's a whole breed of hitmen known as Inkabi, the Zulu word for hitman, and the cases that I cover, you can see that there's a great nexus between politics, the taxi industry, and crime, and it warrants further unpacking.
So, Greg, what has been the response from senior politicians within the party Are they treating this problem with the urgency that it requires? And what solutions are being proposed, if any?
David, there have been quite a few initiatives that have been, widely panned. The Morani Commission being probably the best known one, a commission into violence headed by a lawyer called Morani, senior counsel advocate Morani. There's an acknowledgement. There's been a public acknowledgement. Senzo Mkunu, for example, said that he made a concession at the Morani Commission that the answer to violence lies within the ANC. Having said that, there's violent contestation for power at branch level of the ANC, and that's why people. I mean, in the month that my book was launched, June last year, 8 people were killed in political violence in KZN. So, the ANC members are deeply concerned about it, and have privately congratulated me for writing the book. I was quite surprised at the reaction of ANC members. I think that they are the most concerned about the culture that's turning their party. As to what will be done about it remains to be seen. I think the police need a far more coordinated approach. That's the impression I got. It's not to say that there aren't, terribly earnest and hardworking cops and prosecutors involved in trying to bring people to book, but I didn't get enough of a sense that there was a helicopter view of this thing, and that it had been properly mapped.
Well, thanks very much, Greg. I would certainly encourage our viewers to check out the book, and we'll link to that in the description below. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Does the ANC have the political will to rein in this problem of violence in KZN? Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, take care.